I know where there's some, right here in the hall, clerk.
No, Molly, I have
Hello and welcome back to the Philco 60B. I said in the last video that I was going to add Bluetooth to this radio, and I thought I'd show you what I'm going to use to do that. First of all, the first part is the circuit board right here. This is a board designed by Manuel Caldeira on the Electronics Old and New channel. This one is 2020. He's done a couple of revisions to this board. So he's up to version 4, I think. But this is a version 2 board. I've used it a couple of other times, and it works quite well. What this board does is it accepts 6.3 volts AC from the heater string, the heater transformer in the radio right here. So 6.3 volts AC in. It does the AC, it does rectification, filtering. It puts that DC output through a DC to DC converter to isolate the rest of the circuitry from the power supply in the radio. Then you mount a Bluetooth module on here. At the time I got these, I got several of these guys. This isn't the one that Manuel had designed this to specifically take a Bluetooth board. I got these. They weren't the same, but you can make them work because the only two connection points are right here on the Bluetooth module, power, and then left, right channel, and ground. So those are the only connections you need to make back to this guy. The Bluetooth antenna is right here. There is a screw hole, a 2 millimeter screw for this particular one. Three would be better, but 2 works. So what you do is you mount this and connect the left, right, and ground to the left, right, and ground on Manuel's board, and you attach the power to the power out, which is right here on Manuel's board, and you end up with something that looks like this. This accepts 6.3 volts AC in. It powers, converts it to DC, powers this integrated circuit and its filtering stuff. And then you connect its output. This is a receiver. So you connect the output, the left, right channels, and ground back down to this board. This board then will convert that stereo signal to mono right here. And so you have mono out. So AC in from the radio, mono out to the radio, and that's the Bluetooth addition I'll make to this Philco. Typically, the recommendation is to connect the output of this to the one side or the other of the volume pot. You detune the radio, connect this to the volume pot, and use the audio output part of the radio just to amplify the output of the Bluetooth receiver. And that's what we're going to do here. I also, let's get to the chassis, take this to the chassis, and we'll hook it up and see if we can get it powered and see if we get Bluetooth working. Okay, here's the here's the chassis. Here's our Bluetooth card, and I've got these 2 wires. And I've got these 2 wires connected to the ACN right here. And what we're going to pick up is the 6.3 volts. But I was just looking at it on this meter, and it's 6.07 volts AC. So it's low, and which means our dropping resistor over here is working quite well and perhaps too well. I'll have to go in and measure that. But you can pick up 6.3 or 6 volts, I guess in this case, almost anywhere off any of these, the 4 regular tubes, not the rectifier. Well, no, not the rectifier. So right here, I'm going to go to the 6A7 because it's most accessible. And I'll grab a couple of clips here. One will go on that pin. And one will go on this one. If I can get in there. Okay, and that should give us our 6 volts here. We'll check it again to make sure our leads are good. Right, so we've got 6 volts. So now I can power up the Bluetooth module, hopefully, simply by connecting these 2 leads right here. And our Bluetooth is now searching for something to connect to. So I've got my tablet right here. I will get on there and see what I see. VHN 314, that will be it. So I'll connect to that. Connected. Now the blue light is steady, which means I have connected to the Wi-Fi or the Bluetooth module on the card here. So next we'll hook the output, the mono output here, back into the potentiometer right here. Now we can't hook to this end because this side is grounded. So and this is the slider right here. So this is where audio goes up and into the 75 tube for its first amplification. So what we have to do is hook to this end of the volume connector, the volume pot. So I know from experience that this one is grounded. You may remember from a previous video. We know that the center one is our slider, and so we have to connect right there. So I'll tack a couple of wires on here, and we'll connect in there and see what we get. Okay, I've tacked a couple of wires into the mono out. The one with the black stripe is going to the ground plane. It really doesn't matter. This is isolated from the radio and from the AC side of the module. But you know, just to keep things on the up and up. So I will ground this to the chassis. This side I'll run through a capacitor. This is just the one I was using to do the alignment, and then to that pin of the volume potentiometer. Okay, we've got a blinking light, meaning it's playing. I'm playing my favorite online radio station, kbrd.org in Olympia or Lacey, Washington, and it's working. I'm running through this capacitor just to provide some DC isolation, although I don't think it's necessary. It doesn't hurt either. There's a 102, by the way. KBRD plays a lot of old records from the 20s through the 40s, so they're kind of a pleasure to listen to if you've never listened to them before. Anyway, we've got Bluetooth. It's what do I want to say about it? Nothing much. This volume pot doesn't go all the way to 0, so I can still hear it faintly in the background. But plenty of signal, I think. And again, this is with our muffled speaker. I guess the next thing to consider is how to route all of this and to mount it in an inobtrusive way in the radio. And I'll wait till later when I finish the chassis to start talking about where to put this module. It could fit in a number of places. It could fit right here. You could mount it to the bottom of the, well, no, that wouldn't work. I was going to say you could mount it to the bottom of the cabinet, but not really, because this would scrape in and out when somebody removed the chassis. So anyway, we'll have to get the cabinet done and get that ready to go. And then we'll talk about how to mount the Bluetooth module. But right now it seems just fine.
But that ain't the way I heard it.
I was puzzled by the bleed through, the sound that was coming through when I turned the volume all the way down. I thought at first that the potentiometer wasn't zeroing out like it should. But it turned out, I discovered just poking around, that you may recall, or you may not, that this capacitor bank right here is soldered to this lug of the potentiometer, the volume pot. And this lug right here actually is chassis ground. And it wasn't making good contact. These weren't soldered together very well. And so I fixed that. And then when I put the Bluetooth back on there, it did two things. It stopped bleeding through. I don't hear it right now, but it sure is playing. It's playing a lot more volume now. So that bleed through was just bleed through, some radiation from the audio getting into the radio. There wasn't a good ground on this cap. So I expect this cap wasn't performing very well either, even though it had been rewired. So I was excited to find that, happy to fix it, and get just a ton of volume now, and it turns all the way down.
I'm so weary and all alone.
Anyway, it sounds great. Okay, that's it really. And next time we talk about the Bluetooth module, we'll talk about where to mount it in the cabinet. See you then.